Hey guys, it's me, the Trayman himself, and I'm back for another video. And in today's video, we're going to be discussing the progress that I've been making on the RPG. This RPG is being made completely from scratch and with only commands. So there's a lot of bug fixing, trial and error, coding, and general brainstorming that I have to do between each one of these progress updates. So I do recommend that you guys like and subscribe to stay up to date with these videos. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. So let's begin by discussing the first changes that I made. One of the first changes that I made is that now I've swapped the UI. The reason why I've swapped the UI is because if you didn't change a specific setting with the previous UI, there'd be kind of like this shade over your screen, and that would be a pretty big problem for most players. So, and I just wanted to make sure that everyone, even people who haven't watched this video or haven't watched the series, are able to join the server and play and understand how everything works. So the second biggest change that has happened is that due to the new update, I've started using a new world instead of my previous one. So that means the progress that I've made on my previous world is now no longer on this world. And that is totally fine because I didn't really make much progress in the first place, and I'm able to place everything back to how it was. I just also wanted to mention this, is that in my previous video I showed myself using blocks with the abilities, and I don't plan on doing that anymore because of the lag inefficiencies that it created. I also don't plan on making anything with armor stands because they cause a lot of little tiny issues, that including lag. If somebody places or replaces the item in its hand, it would just pretty easy to do, especially on PC. And all of those little tiny things just make it super hard to use as with it for this project. So I'm gonna have to make sure that I don't use armor stands anymore. So finally, some good news. We have added combat. We're now able to use swords within the game. It's really cool, and I'm really happy with it. So you're able to hit mobs, and it will deal damage to them depending on your sword damage and your normal damage, crit damage, and all that type of stuff that comes into account and comes into play. It's really interesting, and I'm really happy with it. I'm really proud of it too, and I hope you guys are really excited for it as well. I've also added in a slash attack, which you're about to see in a few seconds. There you go. And this slash attack allows for you to hit multiple entities at once with a ranged sword ability. You have to hold the sword first, then the book, and then you shoot a little slash attack. It's really nice, and it deals half of your current damage, and the health of the slash is half of your current health. And what does that mean, and why does that matter? So if you can deal enough damage to the slash while it's flying towards you, you can shoot the slash back at the enemy that shot it towards you in the first place. It's really cool, and I'm really happy with it. And yeah, you can even shoot slashes at other slashes, and it can counter, and it's really nice. It's really interesting. So yeah. Also, if you trap a slash within within one area, what happens is it starts to deal like a cumulative damage. It just keeps dealing more and more damage to any entities around it, it's really hard to trap a slash. You have to use another slash to do so. It's really interesting, and yeah, I think it's really cool, and I hope you guys are really excited for this. So yeah. So let's now start talking stats. Currently there are about 5 stats in the game that really matter, and all of them have their own uses. So of course there's HP, which regenerates every, I think it was 7 seconds. There's 1 hit point that gets regenerated. And yeah, and then damage, it's just your current damage and how much you have. And then there is crit damage, which is just how much damage you get when you jump. And then there's a stat called crit chance, which goes off a percentage, and every time you hit something, you have a percent chance where that your crit damage gets added to your normal damage, and if you jump, your crit damage gets added on top of that, so you can double your crit damage to deal double crit damage on top of your normal damage. It's really nice. It's really cool. And then we also have sword damage, which I do plan on adding multiple swords, but it's only for all the elements that I plan on adding, like the core magic, like I mentioned previously in my last video. and I plan on making just swords that are kind of like catalysts for core magic, so you don't have to use a magical core within the sword. Well, like just as a core, you just use it within your sword and it becomes kind of like your main core magic. Or maybe, I don't know how I want to do it exactly just yet. I just want to make magical swords, okay? And so in the future I plan on making that, and it's going to be really interesting, and I hope it's going to be really fun as well. So let's now continue the conversation about magic, and I plan on adding core magic, as I have said previously in my previous video and in this video. And so with core magic, what I plan on doing is I want to add in elemental reactions. There's a game called Genshin Impact, and they have some really cool elemental reactions when you combine two elements together when you hit an opponent. And I plan on adding in a similar system to that, and it will be really interesting. And yeah, I don't know what I plan on doing with that just yet, but we have some ideas of how we can implement it, and yeah. So I plan on having more core magic and not add in like other types of magics, another form of magic, because it kind of was a bit confusing, and I plan on making it instead so that there's a thing called subclasses, which a player can choose, maybe like samurai or like knight, and all of them have different abilities as well, and you can change them at any moment in time. And yeah, and then you can swap classes, and then there's always like at the highest level that you can get to, there's going to be abilities that you can use, and it's going to get really interesting. And technically there'll be like magic abilities within that, but it's not going to be like the same thing as core magic. I plan on with core magic, as I said, just to make it so that you can only choose one ability from each element, and that will be really interesting. And there's like where you could choose like ultimate abilities as well, and based off of the element that you chose, it has a different effect. And I've seen this before on a Roblox game, believe it or not, and I thought it was really interesting. I just plan on making it with my own twist. It's just that's where I got like the inspiration for that, but it's going to be really cool. So yeah, and I plan on making this a really interesting combat system, and yeah. So now there's only two things left that I have to discuss about for this video. And the first thing of that is mobs. So currently the way that the mob system works is mobs are spawned in randomly with like custom levels. They can be 1 through 4, or even 0 actually. So, and the player right now, as you're seeing me, this is level 0. I'm dealing 20 damage, level 0. And the level 4 mobs right now have like 80 health. The Wither Skeletons, at least, they have 80 health and deal like 50 damage or something right now, which is insane. And obviously I only have like 20 HP, and I plan on making it so it's like this. It's going to get really interesting because of all the core magic and all the abilities that the player will have on hand. It's going to make it more balanced. And I don't know, I just plan on making it like that. So I do hope that you guys understand I need to balance this, and I have to make it really like every mob has like a secret to how to beat it, and they're all like very powerful and very strong, and all of them can evolve. It's going to be really interesting. So yeah. The final thing that I have to discuss with you guys is what am I going to name this RPG? I wanted to get the community's input on what you guys want for this RPG to be called. And yeah, so I am going to have multiple different polls and different discussions, maybe like on my YouTube community posts and then on the Discord server. And I'm asking you guys in the comment section down below, please let me know a name that you want for me to use for the RPG. So yeah. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.